Hello everyone, my name is Wynand Fourie. I'm a musician from Cape Town, South Africa, and I'm back with another React. And today we're going to look at another Buy Me a Coffee request. This is a first-time supporter, Ultraviolet. Now, I've got a supporter named Ultra Red, who has been one of my biggest supporters. So we got a new Ultra on the block. And Ultraviolet said, "Hello Wynand, first time request, but I started following you since Love's Healing. What a beautiful project. I think I've watched through the greater part of your content and I've binged on your response videos recently and I'm itching to put in my own request. I would love to do a whole lot of requests, but I think the perfect one to start with is another one by Ren, since that's initially that's what initially brought me to your channel." Sorry, my dyslexia just kicked in there. I'm requesting Ren Eden. It's more spoken word than a song as such, so I hope that's okay, but it seems to get a little more overlooked than his full-on musical content. But it's an excellent showcase of how wonderfully well he can hold someone's attention captive. Look forward to hearing your thoughts. Big love from the UK. UV. Ultraviolet, UV, thank you. This is awesome. Yeah, I haven't been getting a lot of Ren requests on my Buy Me a Coffee, so it's because I have like this whole Renlet wheel where I just react to Ren videos, because that's kind of where my reaction journey started. But that real wheel is running out. Like I've reacted to so many Ren songs. I think there's like more than 80 videos in my Ren reaction playlist. So I've done a lot of Ren videos, but there's still more to come. So let's check out this one together. It's a long one, 8 minutes, 50 seconds. It's called Eden, and here we go. This is it. Boom.
Let me tell you a story as old as time, the story of Adam and Eve. It starts with a God who wanted more. God had just created the heavens and the earth. He had the angels by his side, but they had no will of their own, and so the autonomy to love or reject him was never theirs.
Wow.
All but for one, the once called bringer of light, Lucifer, morning star. Lucifer was the fairest and most intelligent of all the angels. He was the closest thing to God's image, and in his likeliness, Lucifer felt restless. He began
I'll just say, like, I love the pixel art vibe going on here. This is really cool.
God's image, and in his likeliness, Lucifer felt restless. He began to question and doubt God. He doubted the hierarchy opposed upon him. He felt God was arrogant. In his frustration, Lucifer built a throne that stood even above God's and declared mutiny.
Oof.
A war ensued. God, being all-powerful, came out the victor and banished Lucifer from the heavens and exiled him to earth. Once again, God was alone with his power.
Wow.
Perhaps from loneliness, perhaps from curiosity, perhaps from a desire to share love, God began to work on his greatest project yet, a being that would mirror himself, the human, two humans specifically, Adam and Eve. They were placed inside a paradise built for them on earth, the Garden of Eden. In the garden, God placed a tree that bared fruit that would grant anyone who ate it powers bestowed only to a God, to tell good from evil, left from right, to live righteously or to sin. He named this the Tree of Knowledge. God told Adam and Eve they could eat whatever they wanted in the garden, but never the fruit from the Tree of Knowledge. And if they disobeyed him, it would be punishable by death.
Damn.
The basic way the story of Eden is told is that Eve was tempted by Lucifer in the form of a serpent to eat a fruit from the Tree of Knowledge. Convinced, she bit the fruit. She passed it to Adam and he did the same. Suddenly, ultimate knowledge filled their minds and they realized they were naked and felt shame.
Mushrooms.
God discovered this betrayal and felt angered. He exiled Adam and Eve and cursed them with the life of a mortal. They would work, they would bear children, and they would die. The fate of a human.
Wow.
Now look deeper.
In the story, the serpent tempted me by telling me I would gain ultimate knowledge and that God would spare me.
Both were true.
This wasn't some great deception, meaning that Satan, in the likeliness of God, perhaps understood his intentions. In fact,
The only lie uttered in the
Garden of Eden was
by God, who did not end up
condemning
Adam and Eve to
death.
This could be seen as an act of
Mercy, but the sheer fact that the tree existed and that humans
were initially cut off from this knowledge.
may imply some part of God was afraid that if humans were granted the gift of perception, they, like Lucifer, would have the power to reject him too. The fact that there stood a beautiful tree that could
grant this knowledge in the first place
implies that a small part of
God, supposedly all-knowing,
perhaps wanted and intended
the humans to bite too.
In the Bible, Satan was an exiled angel of free will. Humans are exiled
descendants of Adam and Eve.
also with free will. Not only have we shared a similar fate to the devil, we were also both constructed in the
We're
image of
also
our
both
Creator,
constructed in the image of our Creator.
meaning our behaviors, in some shape or form, imperfectly echo His.
We could assume that this kind of
God has his doubts, but as the most
powerful
being in the universe,
he has no one above him
to turn to with questions, and no one to
doubt but himself, an incredibly lonely and isolating existence.
So I need to pause for a little moment and just take this in. Now I kind of grew up a Christian, I guess. I've since kind of strayed from that path and explored more other spiritual paths and everything, but I mean, I haven't really listened to this story in a long time. I don't know how much is this. I'm assuming this is Ren, so this is all kind of taken from the scriptures and from the books. And it's very interesting to me that a lot of the imagery here feels AI generated, and I think that's very much on purpose. It's because like we've kind of created AI, right? And we've become the creators of something that's now taking form in its own way. And it's I think like we created the internet, which was already like a form of unleashing something that was out of our control, you know, like creating something that's out of our control and that almost has a free will of its own. And I don't know, I wouldn't say AI has free will necessarily, but there's definitely like an interesting this is an interesting time we're in. Like the evolution of AI is rapidly growing, and yeah, it's interesting to see where it's gonna go.
In the Bible, Satan was an exiled angel of free will. Humans are exiled
Descendants of Adam and Eve.
also with
And then you have all these voices. His voice, I'm guessing he recorded his voice, and then because there's like AI tools you can use to change your voice to something else, or you type something out and it reads it. We've all heard those voices on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. You just know they call it the uncanny valley. You know, when something just doesn't feel like it's human, or it was made by something artificial. You know, it's like when you see a CGI lion or something, you just know it's not a real lion.
free will. Not only have we shared a similar fate to the devil, we were also both constructed in the image of our Creator,
constructed in the image of our Creator,
meaning our behaviors, in some shape or form, imperfectly echo His.
we could assume that this kind of
God has his doubts, but as the most
powerful
being in the universe,
he has no one above him
to turn to with questions, and no one to
doubt but himself, an incredibly lonely and isolating existence.
We must only assume that the common thread between God, Lucifer, and us is the desire for more, an eternal curiosity, a desire perhaps birthed from a seed of loneliness. If not, why would we exist in the first place? The constantly looping bittersweet irony is whether gifted by some omnipotent God or simply a byproduct of billions of years of evolution, here we stand in 2023 as creatures with free will, the only creatures that understand and define good from bad, creatures with the potential of a God. And what do we do with that free will, my friends? We willingly walk to the edge of a cliff. In the name of progress, we jump off the precipice. The empires we build ravage the earth. The natural order of things are necessary to survive. Any systems which do not honor homeostasis eventually perish. Our free will overrides our own biological instinct. We can take more than we eat. We can kill more than we need. We can willingly create weapons with the potential to burn everything we've built to the ground. We willingly decide to bow at the altar of greed, the most insidious and destructive of all sins. We put our faith in corporations who pose as rulers. We willingly allow ourselves to be led by outdated power systems ran by corrupted politicians
and bloated dictators who claim domain and dominion over an open and free land.
We willingly elect the corrupted when the decision was always ours to build something better. We willingly create and impose separation because of beliefs that we are force-fed through our phones and television sets. We always had the will to reject these things, but we adhere to them as though they were the laws of physics. War, famine, pestilence, greed, these aren't things imposed upon us by an all-powerful God or by his demonic adversary. They are here because of us, not because of free will, but because of our inability to use it. We must be motivated to be better, not out of fear of punishment of an eternal damnation, but because the choice exists, because we love ourselves, because we have the power to absolve ourselves of so much unnecessary suffering. Take a second to be in this very moment. In this moment, how much suffering is happening all over the planet right now? How many people are dying of illnesses that could have easily been cured, but aren't because of the selfishness and greediness of humanity? How many people break their backs and reject their own passions to simply afford bills and food? How many of us crave distraction from existence? How many of us numb that pain in whatever way necessary? How many children are being abused? How many people sleep cold and hungry on the streets? How many of us become cogs inside a machine that is destroying itself? How many soldiers have been forced to fight in meaningless wars? How many humans have killed for ideals they don't believe in or understand? How many people have died for the greed of another man? And how much of this was avoidable? As written in the Bible, Satan was not condemned to hell. Satan was condemned to earth. He lives there amongst other creatures with free will, who always had the choice and still chose their own undoing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our self-made hell. The bittersweet irony is this is a creation of our own design.
Jeez, man.
I'll leave you with this. Consider what you have done here today. Oof. You have worked together as individuals collaborating to form a giant neural network, a hive mind capable of achieving incredible things. We have lent on each other's strengths to solve puzzles and decipher riddles, and we've done so to win money. Imagine applying that same spirit and determination to creating the closest thing we have to paradise here on Earth. By using the power of collaboration, we can work together to even the playing field for everybody. Our dystopias can become utopias. Our Jahannams can become Jannah. Our hells can become heaven, right here on Earth. And this sentiment applies to atheists, agnostics, and believers alike. Myself, I'm an agnostic who believes. I believe in us. We must do better because we can choose to. We must be better simply because the option exists.
Wow.
Thank you.
We must be better simply because the option exists. Choose, choice, free will. Wow. Damn. Preach, brother. There's a lot to think about in this piece. I'm sure there's a lot of mixed emotions from people. Like, obviously, people have different beliefs, and yeah, he's covering a lot of ground here, you know. And it's coming from a very because I know he's also from kind of a Christian background, so yeah, it's just interesting. It's very, very interesting. And like, some of this kind of reminds me of just the feeling, and the experience reminds me, I don't know if you guys seen Darren Aronofsky's film Noah, but it's not like the most amazing film, but it's good. It's like, it's got some really interesting insights, And I think my favorite part of that movie is right after they get into the ark and everything's closed off and they can hear people shouting and the flood's happening, and it's just the family with like a I think there's a candle in the middle, and Noah says, "Let me tell you the story." I think it's of Genesis or something, and he closes the candle and then he starts basically reciting the Bible, but then the imagery on the screen is kind of, like he's saying, like God created the heavens and the earth, and then like you see like stars forming and planets forming and like this big bang, and then it's all these stars forming, and then God created the earth, and then the earth planet like starts forming, and it's like this time lapse of basically what they're saying in the Bible, like a biblical thing and an evolution, like just perfectly working together. And it's almost like it could be interpreted as that, right? Like I think a lot of times evolution is seen, evolution by Christians are seen as like this bad thing, or it's like it's blasphemy. But if you look at it from another perspective, it's like, oh, it could be the same thing. And I think the point I'm trying to make with this is like it's all about perspective, and it's all about I guess there's an element of free will and acceptance. Love thy neighbor. That's a big one as well. So yeah, I really like this. This is an awesome piece, and it's very thought-provoking. It's very dark as well. It puts you kind of in, especially this part where he's telling you just sit a moment and think about, like all the war that's happening, all the famine, all the corruption, or like children suffering, and it's just a lot. Like it's a lot of like heavy subject matter, and it is like it's good to think about these things and to consider it and to be aware of it. I also think you can't live your whole life just worrying about all these external things, because in another way I think human beings aren't really meant to, I don't think we really have the mental capacity to deal with all this shit, like to deal with all the world's problems, and it can easily spiral you into a depression, and why I say that is I think we all kind of evolved from like tribal, like tribes, and I think like our tribes aren't supposed to be like nowadays the tribe is basically on the internet and everyone is part of the same tribe, but I think it's like the capacity of one human being it stretches to like maybe 20 people max, like the attention you can give, and the like for me, I have my family, and I've got a few close friends, and that's my close-knit community, I'd say it's probably like it's less than 20 people probably, and then I have like the YouTube channel, which is a bit more expansive, but I don't know, it's interesting. These are interesting topics, and this video sparks interesting ideas, and also it can send me on a ramble, but all in all, cool video. Thank you, Ultraviolet. This was a really awesome first time suggestion. I appreciate it, and yeah, what a video. I'd love to know your thoughts on this video as well. Please leave it in the comments. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that, guys. If you like what I do, and you like listening to me ramble, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps me out. And if you want to support this channel and you have a idea of like a song or artist you want me to react to, you can do so by coming over to my Buy Me a Coffee account and becoming a supporter. Just read through the guidelines. It'll help you out, help you like kind of form a request, and yeah, then you can just make a reaction request and I'll oblige, and I'll watch pretty much anything except for hateful, discriminatory, or inappropriate content. If a video doesn't align with the vibe of the channel, I'll refund it. no drama. So yeah, thank you to all my supporters, 54 of you guys. Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. All right. So have a good day, and see you then. All right. Bye bye.